Welcome. My name is Kinetic Symphony. I'm a narrator focusing on glitch in the matrix stories. Let's get into it. Story title: Strange Song Coming from the Forest. Author name: Creatrix B. A couple years ago, I still lived with my parents in a very small town that consisted of only a gas station, post office, and a church, and many farm homes. It's a small town about 30 minutes from a military base. My parents' home is about a mile down a gravel road from the main highway, and only a mile from the center of the town where this church, gas station, and post office were. One night, we're hanging out on the front deck, while my little sister and her friends get some photos done in the front yard, seeing as we're about 2 acres of yard, and we're kind of in a bowl surrounded by woods. It's a beautiful place to take photos. It's about the golden hour, which is right before the sun goes down, and it kind of starts to get a little cloudy, like a storm is rolling through, but everyone is still outside, hanging out nonetheless. But as time goes on, it looks as if the storm is building up, and it's getting pretty windy. So we rush over and help the photographer and the girls gather up all the equipment and props they were using to take the photos. And by this time, it's starting to get dark anyways. Well, it starts raining a little, and the wind is picking up a bit, so all of the girls run inside, as does the photographer with the camera and whatever equipment they could all carry. But leaving a framed backdrop outside that me and my mother told them we would take down and put up in the rain so everyone else could get inside. So as me and my mom are struggling to disassemble the frame for the backdrop, while getting a little wet in the rain, we start to hear a faint sound through the woods, almost like music. Which wasn't very odd because right through the woods about a mile away was the highway, and right across the highway was a church. So it wasn't very strange that we would hear music or singing in that direction. So here we are getting the frame and the backdrop packed up and thrown into the porch. And from the first time we heard this singing or music, only about 10 seconds has gone by, and we heard it again. And once again, we don't think too much of it, and we're still going into the yard to grab any other random things left out, like stools or someone's shoes, etc. Well, another 10 seconds goes by, and once again we heard the singing, which by now is a little bit louder, and we can now tell it is singing, and it's the same 4 to 6 notes over and over again. So it's like someone is singing a short tune over and over again, but only in ahs. So ah ah ah, like Ariel, the Little Mermaid, would sing type deal. And so at first, like I said, it was so faint it sounded so far away, we really thought it was just the church. But at the end of the last note, it would restart back over to the first one, and this time it would be a little louder. Every time the tune would restart, it was a little bit louder, and sounded a little bit closer, like it was approaching us. By now we're finishing picking up all the stuff in the yard, and completely mesmerized by what we're hearing, this tune getting louder and louder each time it sung back over and over again. And to give you a visual, we're standing by the garage facing into the yard, which is about an acre long, and looking out towards the tree line, which through the tree line is, like I said, the church across the highway. It's almost dark, but still light enough to see the tree line, and this tune is getting louder and louder, slowly sounding as if it's coming closer and closer, but at this point, it definitely sounds like it's coming from inside of the forest and no longer from the church. Me and my mom start talking about theories. Okay, maybe there are people in the forest chanting this song or something, because where we live there have been reports of cult activity in the woods. So naturally this is both our first thought, if it isn't coming from the church. But one thing we can't explain is the sound of the voice is actually making. It doesn't sound like a group of people. It doesn't sound like 20 different voices coming together harmoniously, singing the same notes over and over again. No, instead it sounds like one person, neither male nor female. Yet it's almost as if one person has been cloned 20 times, and 20 of the same voices are coming together, harmoniously singing this tune. That's what was most creepy about this, and obviously the fact that this is happening at all is creepy as well. So here we are, almost paralyzed, staring at the tree line, listening to this Ariel-esque over and over again, getting louder and louder as the same 20 voices start over the tune. By the end of the last note, it restarts, and when it does, it sounds louder and louder than before. After about 10 times of this mysterious song playing over and over again, getting louder and closer as it plays, it sounds as if the 20-person cloned singing group is right on the tree line, just standing behind the trees. And I don't mean I can physically see anyone. It's just the tune is so loud at this point, it's as if it's coming right from the tree line. Of course, as soon as the last note ends, it starts back over to the beginning and is even louder than before. And this time it sounds as if it's surrounding us, coming from all directions. Me and my mom are no longer paralyzed. We're now in fear and shock, and we both look at each other and sprint to the front door and shut and lock it, both in the kitchen now, breathing heavy. Looking at each other, trying to understand what we just experienced. We are completely and entirely frightened and also amazed. We both heard the same thing, the same exact thing, 20 cloned voices, neither male nor female, singing the same 4 notes over and over again. With every beginning of the tune, it gets louder and closer, and eventually it's so loud it's literally surrounding us. To this day, me and my mom haven't found anything like it on the internet, nothing that even comes close to explaining what we experienced. It's like whatever we heard and experienced is so unique, but I've done so much research and still, years later, I can't explain any of what we heard. So here I am, typing this, so maybe I can find at least one person who's experienced something similar, or has at least read something that is similar to this experience. It's just one of the most mysterious things that ever happened to me, and the fact that my mother was standing with me hearing the exact same thing at least lets me know that I did in fact hear it, and it was real. Personal thoughts. Let's say that's a moving experience, very fascinating. So I'm accustomed to reading about audio glitches, mainly related to the hum, where there are people who are able to perceive of a low humming noise in certain areas of the world, but others can't. Equipment is able to pick up the sounds, but a source can't be determined. Your story is much more specific than that, because it's coming from what seems like a human being's voice. Your little sister and others that went inside, did they end up hearing anything at all, even faintly through the walls of the home? I wonder. It is possible that this was just an elaborate prank, that it was just a group of orchestral singers just having fun. But that doesn't seem very likely at all, does it? Now my mind does want to drift towards spirits, but then I've yet to hear of singing ghosts before, so I'm not sure. I hope someone else can relate to this and has some idea. Very interesting. And that concludes our longer story for the day. If you'd like to, show the video some love, hit the like button, and subscribe on up. I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you there for more glitches.